Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Review. My name is Mike Larkin, and by my side, as always, is my dude, the RWT Deadman, Mr. Paul Morales. How are you, Paul?
What's up, my brother?
Man, we are back in the fold earlier than usual, folks, as it is this Saturday at 5 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There it is. Elimination Chamber. We're going to be doing our predictions at the end of today's forum, but we have a
I'm
lot.
gonna go back east. I'm gonna go hang out with you because you know what? That's too damn early for me to be up at 2 a.m. to try and watch all this.
You're always welcome with me, my brother. I got you. Nice little spot.
All right.
But yes, we'll be doing the predictions last, but we have a lot to talk about. You know, it's so funny. Like, we were going into this and we're just like, all right, chamber stuff a little bit, but no, a lot has come out, folks. A lot has come out. And we are here to talk about it with you today. And starting off right on the docket here is, well, Jey Uso had a banger with Gunther at the end of Raw for the Intercontinental Championship. Drew McIntyre had a banger with Cody Rhodes, with Drew winning thanks to the Bloodline. But that wasn't the last time we saw the Bloodline, because as Jey was about to put away Gunther like he was Roman at SummerSlam, who rings the bell? Jimmy Uso, a ding, 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 ding. And then that distraction causes Gunther to retain the IC Championship. And, well, I'm for it, man. Jimmy and Jey, WrestleMania, let's go.
Let's fucking go. You know what? We've been wanting to get some of this. We've been wanting the brothers to get to each other. So, hey, what better stage than WrestleMania? On that card, you know, that card is going to be stacked on either night. It doesn't matter which night that they hit on. They are going to put on a banger, and we already know that they will. We saw a little bit of a preview at the beginning of the Royal Rumble when they came out 1 and 2. So we could get pretty much a really good banger for at WrestleMania, man.
I look at it from a stance too. Like, we've seen many brotherly battles at WrestleMania. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy from WrestleMania 25. Like, I'm totally down for it. Like, I like the subtlety of the 1 and 2 in the Rumble, like you mentioned. Do I think it'll be on par with what we saw with like a Bret and Owen, Matt and Jeff? We'll have to see, but I think in its own universe, in its own realm, the Jimmy Jey storyline, even if you get Rikishi involved, you know, get in between his two sons, I think what you have here is another spectacle like we're going to have with the Roman Rock and everything that's going to be unfolding there. But I think if you have two guys that manifested it into the universe that they wanted to wrestle each other at WrestleMania, and now that we're going to get it, I'm really looking forward to it. I think they've planted the seeds, and now we're going to watch it grow when we get to Mania.
Yeah, because I think it's like the way you look at it is like the top tier is Bret and Owen because they put on a banger at WrestleMania. I think it was like 10.
10, yeah.
So yeah, so them putting that on and you know showcasing everything that they learned in the dungeon together, you know that was a classic match. And I mean I know with these two this is a little bit more higher energy, so I could see them going a good 10-15 minutes and then just putting on something really, really spectacular between the two of them.
Agreed. I think if you do have to have someone go over it, I think Jey has to finally get that revenge on Jimmy. But either way, I'm here for it just because I think Jimmy has come into his own with the fact that every time I crack up, every time he tries to high five Solo, then he does the own self-help 5 and whatnot, and the old self handshake.
Like this, he's like,
exactly. I love that subtlety, intricacy, and nuance, man. I'm very big into that, but I'm excited for Jimmy and Jey. And what we should all be excited about is that girl's back. I'm talking about Raquel Rodriguez. I'm here for it. The last woman in the chamber. She won the Battle Royale, the Last Chance Battle Royale on Raw. Welcome back, Raquel.
I know, right? After about, I want to say her last match was back in December, I believe. So she's been gone for a little while. She has a really bad case of eczema. So, and then plus it was so bad to where it became like this whole mast cell, you know, syndrome to where it was just taking over her body. I mean, you can go to her Instagram or Twitter page and just see some of the welts that looked like she had on her body and on her face and all over her arms and her neck. And it was just, you felt for her, you feel for her. And you know, it was good that she took the time off. You know, they found a dermatologist to help her out, and now she's doing she's back in the ring, and she's ready to go, and she qualified for this Elimination Chamber match. So kudos to Trips for giving her this opportunity to be in this match, and she's well deserved, because she was, before she got all this, she was on her way to becoming a contender for the title. So that's the way I see it, because her and Rhea had that little spat with each other. So that was just prior to her getting this diagnosis. So I'm just happy to see her back. I'm happy to see that she came out, and you could see on her face. You have to put up that picture, man, because the look on her face of joy and just excitement that she's back, and now they're all. I just want to see a good. I just want to see a good match, and the reason why I didn't think that Jade was going to be a part of it was because nobody really wants her to take that L in the Elimination Chamber. So why not, Raquel?
I will also say insert photo here for when we get to this portion of the show. You'll see that lovely Raquel Rodriguez face. Such a cutie. Was such a cutie beauty. Now, I got to say this, like you said with Jade Cargill, a lot of people were talking about that being her spot. First of all, I like Jade Cargill. I thought she did amazing in the Rumble. We were very much into what we saw at the Rumble, and we were for it, man. But, dude, it's too soon for right now. You know what I'm saying? Let her get a little more seasoning in there. I like to see where they go with her. Where's she going to sign? They're still teasing that. I mean, for right now, let just Jade do her thing, because when the time is right, and when it's right to have her have that big match, that banger, if you will, that storytelling-made matchup, I think we're going to get there, and I think patience is a virtue, and this right here is the true definition of the long game. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think her being in
with
it.
Her.
Yeah.
With her, it's going to be the long game. And I would genuinely like to see her and Bianca go at it at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's the direction that Triple H wants to go to, but I have to see where she signs first. But if it is SmackDown, then that is a possibility for her first match.
I'm really big into the fact that they're finally doing. We're probably going to get that dream match for her and Bianca. I think everything that she's going to touch, whether it be Charlotte or whoever, she's one of those ones that we talk about, larger than life and generational talent. She has just such an uprise and such an upswing. I think it's just going to be amazing to see what Jade Cargill does, because she is that bitch. And we mentioned the two operative words here, the uprise and the upswing. Well, TNA was on an uprise and upswing until everything happened with Scott D'Amore. And I'm going to play this clip before we get to anything else, folks. And here is Alex Shelley on Busted Open. And I watched this because Mr. Paul Morales here sent me this amazing link. And I will say right now, I love it. I love it. I love it. See, this is Alex Shelley talking about Scott D'Amore's departure from TNA and the impact it's had on the locker room. So let's get right into it and let us see what Mr. Alex Shelley has to say.
Scott D'Amore, a couple of weeks ago, no longer with TNA. Your thoughts, your feelings, and how do you plan on moving forward without a guy who's been very pivotal in your career?
When we were told about Scott D'Amore leaving the company, I think probably because I'm at the point of being an elder statesman, even though I'm only 40, in TNA, a lot of people came to me and they were very upset. And understandably so, because this isn't just a change in management. This isn't just a new booker being appointed, the old one leaving. This is people who had more of a traumatic loss. And what they lost was a paternal figure. They lost a coach. They lost a mentor. They lost somebody that they've known since they were a teenager like me. The difference is that when you're around this industry long enough, and I feel comfortable saying this, you get used to this, or you've seen it before. I also had to express to people that oftentimes the worst case scenario looks like this. It looks like whoever is in charge is out, somebody else is in, and with them come their crew and the people that they trust. And I don't ever hate on anybody for that, right? That's their prerogative. But often you would see half the locker room just cut off and you never see these guys again. That's not what's happening here. And I tried to express to everybody in our locker room who came to me for perspective, Scott aimed the gun, but you were the bullet. Like, this is ours. This is our hard work. Yeah, we trusted him and he was there for us in so many ways, but you got in the ring and wrestled like it was you. You did this. So try to remember that this is your legacy too.
We'll start there before we get into the tweets that actually happened right after this as well and around the time period of Scott D'Amore's departure. I got to say, Alex Shelley was spot on. I mean, being the elder statements, like you mentioned, being 40 now, which is crazy to think about. But I think he's right in what he said, because it's now time for a new era to usher in their legacy, their continued legacy. And for me, I can't wait to see what TNA does. I know it's upsetting to see Scott out there, but for what they do, I think we're going to see a lot of thriving talents really get to upstart and upswing, like we mentioned, those operative words. What do you think about what Alex had to say?
Yeah, but we have to see what Anthem does. Anthem has to be able to tell these wrestlers that this is what's going to happen. This is the direction we want to go in. Basically all Scott wanted to do was for Anthem to put money into the company. The sky was the limit for this company because it was rebranded, and you have such amazing talent. We could look at this roster up top to bottom, and we could see how much talent is there, and we see how much they've utilized it under Scott. You know, every week after week, we could see, even during the pay-per-views prior to it going back to the TNA brand. You know, when it was Impact for the last couple of years, we could see Scott's, you know, handprints all over everything. You know, his fingerprints are all over it. So we could see him molding a lot of the talent, and especially bringing back some, you know, to help out, you know, a Mickie James, Gail Kim, a Frankie Kazarian, you know, Christopher Daniels that he brought back for a little while too. And then of course, an Alex Shelley and, you know, Motor City Machine Guns, them being there as mentors to a lot of these people. Even Tommy Dreamer is just off the chain with a lot of these people, especially that digital championship, they know that he held it like as if it were Taz when he had the
FTW title.
The FTW title. It meant something to him. So, you know, Tommy Dreamer getting it, you know, he just showed himself, you know, I don't have to be the top guy in this company. I don't have to be the champion in this company, but I'm going to take this championship and work with it. The same way John Cena did with the United States title. John Cena worked it. So that's exactly what Tommy Dreamer did. And Tommy just went out there and put on some, for as old as he is, and you know, he's my age, you know, for as old as he is, went out there and put on some really good matches and showcased a lot of young talent. So, you know, I hope a lot of these a lot of the talent that are putting up these little hourglasses for the for themselves, you know, to say like TikTok, you know, it's almost, you know, my time is up. Josh Alexander, speaking of the top guy that's on that list of hourglasses, TNA just recently, according to Sean Ross Sapp, actually TNA actually picked up his option, and he really didn't want them to pick it up, you know, because he really wanted to go explore and see what was out there. But they picked up his option, and his contract doesn't end till 2025, the beginning of 2025. So I think maybe January of 2025. So
I mean, look at all these names here that have the hourglass: the Josh Alexanders, the Speedball Mike Baileys, the Chris Bays, the Masha Slamoviches, the Jordan Graces, the Tommy Dreamers. For me, like when you look at Josh, if he was to go explore, I'm going to put it right here, one of two options. I could see him in NXT going for that NXT championship, being a top prospect there. If he were to go to AEW, I'd put him and Ethan Page back together and we'd have their North rebranded there.
Yeah.
I look at Speedball Mike Bailey. He would do well in the NXT division as far as like North American stuff. And you see Nathan Fraser and guys like there. Jordan Grace, I mean, we saw in the Rumble, like she would do fantastic on the main roster. Masha Slamovich is another chick that I could see in the NXT women's division. Put her and Lyra Valkyria in there. Chris Bay is another one. Like, I think if you put him in like an MLW or an AEW or WWE, he'll do flourishing. But I think all these guys and gals who have the hourglass there, I think if you see them as free agents within the next year or two, you're going to get something special. But I think for me, it's a happy and it's a sad thing, just because I'm happy to see TNA there, and let's see what Anthem does with it. But I'm also sad because it's like you let go a guy like Scott D'Amore, who helped get Jordan Grace to the Royal Rumble, helped everything with the Mickie James thing, wanted to do right by the talent. Like you mentioned, having the Motor City Machine Guns come back. Let's talk about AMW coming back and all the reunion shows that they did. Like the dude had his fingerprints, his handprints on everything. And I mean, from his standpoint of 2004, when he was with Team Canada as the manager, from being the executive role, so to speak, I mean, that was Scott D'Amore's baby. That was Scott D'Amore's lineage and legacy. Like, it's sad, but I think with these talents, I think they're going to make up just to make him proud.
I think what's going to happen is that Anthem is going to need to prove to these wrestlers that they're committed to the TNA, same TNA concept that Scott had, and get their inputs and see what they want. You know, take somebody like Tommy Dreamer. I only heard a little bit of Busted Open this morning. I did a little bit of clips from the replay, but overall, Tommy seems like he's genuinely hurt with the fact that Scott's gone. But like any company guy, he wants to see what happens. He wants to see what the direction is that Anthem wants to go in. So I think for him as a competitor, he just wants to genuinely know what's going to happen. He wants to see, and he wants to be part of it. He's not leaving them anytime soon, but if things don't go how he wants them to, I can see him leaving TNA also. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying that it's a possibility.
I will say this. You said an operative word here, Paul Morales. Another one. Here's what I love about you. And we're going to do another segue here. Before we get to the other topics, one other topic that I forgot to mention here. You talk about people leaving. Well, somebody has come back. QT Marshall, as an executive role in that executive position that he once had in AEW, is back, but he cannot wrestle anywhere else outside of the AEW auspices. He's not going to wrestle in AEW, but he can do like Mexico, what have you. What do you think about QT Marshall coming back?
I think he probably would have been better off leaving AEW and trying to find something else out there. I'm not saying he had to go to WWE. That's not what I'm saying, but he does have friends who are in WWE who would have welcomed him with open arms, and he could have been on creative and helped out a whole lot, you know, especially backstage with a lot of what Triple H's ideas that he has, even going down to NXT and helping out Shawn Michaels, you know, with what he's doing down there. That would have been beneficial for him to do, a beneficial place for him to land too.
My thing with him is, do you think it was a case of, okay, I said I don't like the direction of this company and I'm going to leave, which he did. Was it, you think, Tony calling him back, or do you think he was like, you know what? Maybe I want to go back there. What do you think? It was a mixture of both, or was it more Tony saying, come back, please?
It could have been both. It could have been, I don't think he necessarily wanted to leave. I mean, he didn't necessarily leave on bad terms.
No, not at all.
He just had a creative difference between him and Tony. And I grant that's what a lot of us do. A lot of us have, you know, different ideas and different perspectives of what a show. Like me, I'm going to argue with you if I feel like you're doing something that I don't like. And I know you're going to talk to me and be like, hey, look, this and that, and you know, we need to do this and that. But that's between two people.
Right.
You know, granted, this is just two people that happen to be in a big ass company and be like, hey, you know, I think QT is going to do what he does, and he may not be a wrestler anymore, at least in AEW. But of course, I don't think if he would have went to the E, I don't think he would have been a wrestler there either. So if he's going to take booking, if he's going to want to continue to keep taking bookings outside of AEW, then hey, all the power to him.
Oh, agreed. I think with whatever he does, again, he does have a mind, and I will say that he does. I think, but whatever he does, I wish him the best again with AEW. But I think if we can have more of his mindset and more of what he has to offer, I think they're going to be just fine and they'll continue to flourish like we want to see any professional wrestling company do. And man, speaking of flourishing, continuing on the subject of AEW, we do have a new signing as we pull it up on the screen here. Oh my goodness. AEW hires 3-time Emmy Award winning writer. AEW CEO Tony Khan has made a valuable addition to his team. The company is set to announce Jennifer Pepperman as Vice President of Content Development. Sports Illustrated has learned Pepperman is a 3-time Daytime Emmy Award winner. Up until last week, she was also WWE's longest tenured female creative team member, but she opted to leave the company. She had worked for WWE since 2017. In AEW, Pepperman will work beside Khan, who is also head of creative. Her primary role will be development of content for live programming. Congratulations, Jennifer Pepperman.
Yeah, and I think when we had first mentioned her about getting released or fired from, or I want to say she was released by WWE. And this was shortly after everything came out about Vince. So I don't know if this goes hand in hand or whether it was just, something that just, happened. But from this standpoint, she does have the
Credibility.
credentials. She does. I was trying to find the word. She does have the credentials and the 3-time Emmy Award winner. For what she does, those are Emmys. Those aren't. That's top tier in TV. So it's not like she's just some newbie just coming out of film school or whatever. She's got the credentials. She's gonna do her damn thing there, and this is a great pickup for Tony. I mean, he had to have had reached out to her to say, hey, look, this is my offer. This is what I can give you. Do you want it? Yes or no? And she swooped in and took it. What else is there to say? I mean, she's a valuable asset to the company now. And kudos to her for picking her up, and kudos to Tony for picking her up.
You say kudos, and I've always said this. Like, you thought, and a lot of people didn't realize this, but you look at like the huge coup that he got when Adam Hopkins came in. Like, that was the big guy at WWE, the PR guy for years, and everything that he puts into it. You know what I'm saying? He can help with social media and everything just in general from his PR standpoint. Now you have Jennifer coming in, just Pepperman here, and I'm like, God dang it, man. If you actually, and this is all up to Tony Khan here, if you actually listen to what these people say and you learn and you adapt and you grow, I think he'll be just fine. Like you mentioned, 3-time Emmy winner, that's no joke. And I think with her mindset, like you mentioned, credentials, everything will go along swimmingly. But the thing is here, it all goes back to Tony Khan. If you actually listen to these people and not just have your influx. So we'll get to Tony in a second. But Tony, please listen. You have a good hand in Jennifer Pepperman. Let's rock it. Rock it till the wheels fall off. Hold up, if you will. And we're going to go to the next episode, baby. Hope y'all ready. So, Mr. Paul Morales, my Dr. Dre pop culture aside here, let's get to our next topic. And man, this one also kind of breaks my heart too, Mr. Paul Morales, because we had just talked about her last week. We played the audio of her appearance on News Nation. Man, Ashley Massaro, the story just keeps getting, So here is the tweets from her daughter, which I cannot believe as well. Let's pull this up here, man. Okay. There we go. My apologies, folks. Let me go here. Alrighty. So here we are with Lex, her daughter, on Twitter. Cara Pipia wasn't even a friend of my mother's when she passed. She was an ex-best friend who, since her passing, has just spam messaged me unsettling / delirious messages and has fabricated bizarre messages, etc. And then we get to this tweet right over here. Finally gained the courage to search my mom's name, and I see her ex-best friend, the woman who has harassed me and my grandma since her passing / has messaged family members awfully mean things, pretending to be me, etc. As the voice chosen to represent this. God help me. Now, before we get to, oh my goodness, Cara's response here, let's dive into her daughter here. What are your thoughts on Lex Massaro, Ashley Massaro's daughter, her overall sentiments towards Miss Cara here?
You know, it's interesting that that Lexi made a quite a few points, and I get it. from somebody who's from, I mean, we've all been through this. We all have family members and, you know, friends and loved ones who have not been on the same page or close with each other at the end of someone's life. You know, we know who was there, who wasn't there. We know, we may know some stories about these people, you know, their relationship, you know, as far as, you know, the troubles that these two people had, you know, at the end. My point being is that, yeah, she may have had all these issues with her best friend at the end, but that also doesn't mean that at the end she didn't confide in her, or towards even before that, years before that, that she didn't confide in her all the things that happened when she was in WWE, you know, prior to her, you know, leaving, getting a disc jockey job in New York. This all prior to Ashley's death. So what I'm getting at is that we don't know if it could be 90% right, it could be 80% right, it could be 100% right. It could, but Lexi was, and now granted, this was only like 5 years ago that Ashley passed away, that Ashley took her own life. So the fact is that in those 5 years, we don't necessarily know on everything. We don't necessarily know on whether everything came out in their conversations, but according to her, she was told everything, and she knew. And as far as everything that continues to keep coming out from the lawsuit against Vince, we're getting to know a whole lot more than just Ashley, the things that happened to Ashley. So
yes, sir.
You know, in order for Lex, and in order for Lex to heal, she needs to be able to vent. And if she feels that her mom's former best friend is coming at them, or has come at them, or has in any way verbally abused them or whatever, you know, that's something that they have to take up. But if the story is true, then we have to go with what the story is.
Yes, sir. And we have Miss Carapipia has taken to her Instagram page to show these screenshots, and it says, "It's okay, cuz you're my bestest friend in the world, and I love you so much. So don't ever apologize. We always get through everything together, and we always will. This is just a really tough thing going on over here. But you have so supportive and the only one to have faith in me. One day the truth will come to the surface, and it's all goes back to normal one day once all of the truth gets exposed. And I have faith it will. And yes, of course, you and Ari can come by, Tom, but Lex won't be here. But I'd love to see you both. But this show, no, is going to be really, and just goes on from there." So her Instagram post was pretty much, "How about what Ashley wanted? I understand this is painful, but what I've read is disappointing and disturbing. I don't want to lash back, so I will keep this respectful. There is a reason we were so important to each other, and I was the only person who had faith in her. I have 30 years of messages that would reveal the truth about her life. How about a polygraph? I'd be more than happy to do one. How about anyone else? Also, Ashley had asked me to help her write a book back in 2015. The book was entirely about her life and the experiences she went through. Did Ashley and I go through a difficult time before her death? Yes. She obviously wasn't in a good place. Her actions in the end make that quite obvious. It is also so heartbreaking. People need to please think before they react. Thank you all." I mean, I look at it like this, man. Both of them have very, formidable points, and they both have respective cases. I just hope all well goes in the end for them. I mean, you have a daughter who lost her mother and still, goes through it each and every day. You have a former best friend who, did legit care for her and did love her, and just, I don't know, man. I just hope everything can kind of reconcile and really kind of get on the same page and just, smooth things over.
Yeah, I think that it's more about what happened with Ashley. Yeah, okay, we'll separate the two.
Yeah.
Lex may not see, Cara as being the quote unquote best friend of her mother's, when she passed away. But again, I reiterate, it doesn't mean that she didn't say anything. It didn't mean that she didn't confide in her all these things that happened. So now that the story is out there, now that we know who some of the players are, at least allegedly, we know some of the players are, we can just kind of piece it together. And, you know, I just, like I said, I mean, Ashley needs to rest, and it needs to, but in order for that to happen, this whole story needs to just come out, let it all out. Let's see who the players were. Let's see who actually knew, and if John knew, and if Vince knew, and dare I say it, if Stephanie knew, then something's bound to happen, man.
I will say this, another name, and this also kind of reiterates to the lawsuit and everything in general. And also we talk about more women who have really spoke out. There was something that Rene Dupree said that was very imperative on his podcast, Cafe de Rene. So if you remember at the time, 2005, this also goes back to Ashley's time period. Miss Jackie Gaeta, who, God bless her, I hope everything goes well with her from that last thing that we saw where she was selling her clothes and stuff like that and putting them up for auction. I hope she gets back in the right place. But Jackie Gaeta's name came up because, as you remember, in 2005, both when she was with Charlie Haas at the time, it got released after their honeymoon, and Rene Dupree had said that, and I quote, it might have been also as well that Vince McMahon made advances towards her, and she said no. And then, as you know, they both got fired off on their honeymoon when they came back from their honeymoon in 05. Yeah. So Jackie Gaeta's name was also brought up.
Yeah, but like I said, if Christy Hemme posted something, and then she brought up Victoria's name, which is Lisa Marie Varon.
Mm-hmm.
She brought up quite a few names, even Renee, not Renee Michelle. Oh my God.
Oh, Renee Young.
Not Renee Young. God dang it. Her last name is Michelle.
Oh, Candice Michelle.
Good Lord, I'm blanking today. You know what? I need some sleep. I'm sorry, my bad.
Candice
and you're the one that's up late. Jeez,
I know, right?
Anyways, yeah, she brought up Candice Michelle, and they were talking about specifically, you know, the things that happened during their time in WWE, and you know, we know his history, and it's already coming out, and the fact that he's done all this is just, like I said, like we've already come to the conclusion is that he's going to continue to keep doing it, that everything is going to continue to keep coming out about him. So, you know, I just hope at the end, you know, Ashley gets her justice, you know, for everything that happened.
Agreed, man. And I will say this, a lot of things will come into the light. The truth will be spoken and the truth will be heard. And all I got to say is sooner or later, God will not only cut you down, but he will see you for who you truly are. And when he comes back, boom, not to get too religious on you, but, you know, spirituality is a thing, folks. And, well, speaking of someone who needs Jesus and spirituality, are you ready? Are you ready to get into some Tony Khan tweet to some O'Shea Jackson Jr. to Ice Cube saying, hey, man, that's my son. Go fuck yourself. Are you ready for me to play the deed, if you will?
Yeah, play it.
So to point the picture here and put the story into fruition here, folks, O'Shea Jackson Jr. was on the one and only Mr. Chris Van Vliet's podcast. And here's an excerpt that was from it on AEW Fans. And, well, I don't know if you're not shocked, but, you know, he pissed some people off. And, well, here is what he had to say. Let's run it.
If I'm watching someone on AEW and I ask, who is this guy? I don't need you to tell me I'm not a real wrestling fan, to tell me how could you not know such and such who did. Who gives a damn? Like, I need you. All right, inform me, bro, or at least have your programming in a way to let people know why you should love this dude, why you should fuck with this guy. That's something that I feel like is missing. Conan, when I was on his podcast, he brought up when you watch UFC and they give you a little backstory about this dude, backstory about that dude. What this guy's had to go through, what he's done, and vice versa. And then they put him in a room and they cuss each other out. And then by watching those videos, you picked a side
Yes.
of who you're with. That's missing from that. What they have is this niche group of people who watch all of these wrestling shows and they're already in the know. So when they see these names together, it is a dream match for them. But you're trying to sell this to American television, baby. You got to movie that up a little bit. You got to give me some cinema to follow, something to hold on to besides the announce team running down a list for me while this dude's walking down the ramp. And I feel like that's missing. And when you are trying to get involved and trying to really give something a chance, and when you question it even a little bit, and you get 80 no-faced accounts coming at you at any given time, you're like, man, fuck this noise, bro. Like, I'm cool off of it. If y'all like it, I don't. And I don't want that. I have people over there that I'm cool with, All
right, before we read the threats that were coming to Mr. O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s way, that dude was spot the fuck on, to put it the most bluntest terms and honesty. He was spot on, Paul.
I've said, now, I took my daughter to go see Full Gear last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This was my daughter's first wrestling show. Okay. She's a WWE fan, but she didn't really know anything. But I just wanted her to go in to check to see how it is, enjoy it. It's a pay-per-view. With no expectations, just go in and enjoy it, which was fine because she did enjoy it. We had a good time. But my biggest critique about AEW is the storylines. There are none. I'm not gonna say there are none, but the way they are presented is far few and in between. It's like we're getting more matches than what we are more storylines. And I have no problem with the matches, none whatsoever, but make them make sense. And it's like you have storylines that started and all of a sudden abruptly stop. I get it. That's a Vince thing. Vince is known for that. Vince is known for trying to push somebody, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to push you no more. That's a Vince thing. Vince has been doing that for years. And I mean years. I mean, back in the 80s, years. He was supposed to push Junkyard Dog into the Intercontinental Intercontinental Championship, and didn't do it. Tito Santana was supposed to have a long run with the Intercontinental Championship to surpass Pedro Morales, which coincidentally Gunther had just passed him just this past Monday. That was something that he had wanted for him. And that was something Tito had stressed a long time ago. Actually, a few years ago, he had stressed that was something that Vince had wanted for him. But he took that away from him because he saw something bigger and better, of course, with the Macho Man and the Honky Tonk Man. And, he thought all these guys were just going to be like, out there in outer space. Anyways, back to my point. Sorry, I'm going to go off right there. But anyways, back to my point. The reason why a lot of people are turned off from AEW is because the storylines aren't there. People aren't invested in them. They may be invested in a few of them here and there, but other than that, it's like it's just a wrestling company. And hold on. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. It's just a wrestling company that people enjoy. It's not that people aren't. It's not that people are critical of the wrestling itself. They're critical of what doesn't happen. What doesn't happen, in backstage, in with the product, in with not what necessarily the production, in with the storylines themselves, and that's where people have the gripe at. And you can hear it from everybody. But like O'Shea said, if you don't tell me if you don't give me a little bit of info about these people, how am I supposed to know? That's like me asking about guys from New Japan. I don't know. I know their names, but I don't know them like, hey, this guy is from Bullet Club X, you know, over here, you know, or this guy is from oh my god,
like Bullet Club, or like you mentioned, like
yeah,
Los Ingobernables de Japón.
that's the name I was looking for. It's like, how am I supposed to know who all these people are? But I do know their names, but I don't know who their character is. You know, Moses Marquez, the homie, tells me, hey, you know, you need to know this guy and blah blah blah. Okay, well, hey, I'll check him out, and I'll check him out and be like, hey, dude's pretty good, dude's really good. He goes, well, yeah, suggest me some matches. Okay, well, watch this one, this one, this one. Okay, gives me 3 or 4 matches and tells me to watch them. And then, hey, run them back. Hey, homeboy's like really, really good, talented in the ring. Like, yeah, dude, you should watch it more. That's what O'Shea is trying to say. Give me some info on these people instead of jumping down my throat that I don't know them. Why don't you give me some info about them? And this way I can make my judgment of them myself. Is that so hard?
I like how you also were talking about back in the 80s there, just friggin' Warrior and friggin' Tito Santana and Randy Macho Man Savage. I like your style with the IC title. Yes, sir. I will say this because what Paul and O'Shea as well would have said here. All right, I'm going to give you an example. The CMLL guys coming in, and we don't know who half of those people are. It's just like, oh my God, it's the CMLL guys, and they're going to take on the Blackpool Combat Club. Oh my God, we're going to get Edge and Minoru Suzuki. And it's like, Edge is like, oh, you would have thought, like, you know, we haven't seen this in years. Like, who thought that wanted to see that? Like, really, honestly, who wanted to see Adam Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki? No one. No one. Because, again, in Tony Khan's mind, it's a dream match. Kenny Omega versus El Hijo del Vikingo is not a dream match. And mind you, I remember when I first saw Vikingo, he was in the AAA Impact Wrestling on that episode of Impact when they were doing it in Mexico, and they used AAA talent. He was one of the X Division guys. The problem is, unless you watch New Japan or AAA in this matter, you don't know who the hell Vikingo is. Vikingo, Vikingo was his name-o. Like when you have Akiyama, Bermuda Bahama, come on Pretty Mama, taking on Eddie Kingston. What's the story? Oh, that's his idol. He's going to wrestle him. Okay. I don't know who Akiyama is, though. He's just some Japanese guy that Eddie Kingston look up to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's my point.
Right.
Specifically my point. Not everybody is going to know these people. It doesn't mean that I'm not a wrestling fan. It doesn't mean that I don't care about wrestling. What I'm saying is like, if you in particular, say I mention a dude from All Japan and you've never heard of him, but I say, hey, look, this guy's really, really talented. I'll give you a couple matches, go watch him, you know, yada, yada, yada. You go and watch him. You come back to me and you're like, damn, you were right. Dude's impressive, but he reminds me of this guy. And he has those same assets in his repertoire. Hey, that's cool. Hey, I like that. Hey, you know what? I look forward to seeing more of him. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't just jump down somebody's throat because, hey, I don't know this guy. Tomohiro Ishii, you know, Ishii comes in and, you know, he wants to battle Moxley. Moxley, all of a sudden, it's like they have these banger matches, one banger match, and everybody is like, oh my God, this is like a dream match. Like Tomohiro Ishii is a good wrestler that was a little past his prime, but that doesn't mean that he's not a good, outstanding. That doesn't mean that he's not a good wrestler. You know, and they put on a really, really good match. It was a fight, it was a brawl, but it was a really, really good match. Filled with a lot of dramatic sequences between the two, and we loved them. We loved the moment, whether it would be here whether it be in AEW or whether it be over in New Japan. Didn't matter where it was at. We knew that those two were going to end up putting on a really, really outstanding match, and they did twice. But that's what I'm getting at, is like, not everybody knows these guys from New Japan, but if you give, like O'Shea said, give me some information, give me a little bit of background, give me a little bit of something instead of jumping down my throat and trying to say, well, you're not a wrestling fan, or calling me not a wrestling fan. Because those are the same quote unquote wrestling fans who tell people they're not wrestling fans.
Right.
Make that make sense.
Exactly. And my apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off, but here's my thing, dude. You have Tony Khan, who's the booker of this. Like, you could give me a video package or something. Like, hype me up so I want to see this. Just don't be like, well, fuck you if you don't think that's a dream match, buddy. Like, that is not how you have to look at it. Like,
but show me clips. Show me
right.
clips of him in Japan.
Yes.
Show me a couple of his matches in Japan. Not a couple of his matches, but at least clips from his matches. Like, okay, if you know that this match is 2 or 3 weeks down the line or a month down the line, show me a couple of his matches. Show me a couple of clips from his matches, flashbacks, you know, the things that he's done with other people that are well known, you know, people who he's wrestled, and they don't all have to be well known. He could have, okay, Shinsuke Nakamura,
right?
Give me something that he's fought him about. We can do that with a lot of the guys that have come over from New Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was from there. So if these are clips from guys that he wrestled, that Shinsuke had wrestled over in New Japan, then you can say, hey, look, this guy is like this guy is like that. It's just how you present it. If you're not presenting it to somebody and showing them, you know, hey, look, this is the guy, this is this talent that he does, these are the matches that he's put on. Hey, you know what? Take a couple minutes, go watch this match. Hey, go watch this match. Something.
Okay, I'm going to give a couple examples here. It's like when Aki Bono was going against the Big Show at WrestleMania 21. Aki Bono, who's very popular in Japan, who's wrestled in All Japan, who's wrestled in New Japan, and then you only see him do the friggin' sumo match at Big Show at WrestleMania 21. And like, oh, why is he so special? I'm like, if you actually look at Aki Bono outside the WWE auspices, he's a friggin' big dude. He's friggin' gigantic. I know he wrestled EC3 at a Bound for Glory back in 2014 where they were doing the Pro Wrestling Noah overall tie-in there. Like for me, you even look at it like when Tensai came back, because most of the WWE universe knows him as Albert or A-Train. Like a lot of them didn't watch him as Giant Bernard in New Japan. Show me something instead of, oh, he's just a Japanese guy now and he's got, you know, Sakamoto with him, Sakamoto. Like that's what they just represented there. It's like Nakamura, like you mentioned, they actually did a video package going into his match with Sami Zayn at that NXT TakeOver Dallas. Jushin Thunder Liger is another example here. For those who may not be familiar with Jushin Thunder Liger, that was a big deal when he came in and wrestled Tyler Breeze at TakeOver because Tyler Breeze wanted a match, and William Regal's like, okay, you want a match? You're going to face this guy. And then here's Jushin Thunder Liger, and we showed the WCW footage and whatnot from Japan. That's what you need. You had to give me a little hype ski, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And this leads us to the overall backlash of people who one little smidge of criticism can lead to this. And here we go. And Ice Cube was also ready to scrap. He was pretty much ready to say, hello, I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking thanks I get. So here comes oh, poor O'Shea Jackson Jr. This person wrote to him, man, I never wished Ice Cube pulled out more in my life than when this sped was conceived. And then Ice Cube responded back with, fuck your wishes, bitch ass drughead. Yeah. So he got mollywopped verbally by the only Mr. Ice Cube. He was ready to go straight out of Compton on that boy's ass. Your thoughts are just the overall hatred and visceral hatred from the verbal standpoint towards O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Ice Cube just ready to regulate.
Man, he was about ready to do the whole, you know, this villain done got fucked with no Vaseline. I'm telling you what. Ice Cube was ready to go off on some fools. Everything that O'Shea was getting from every little person that was on there, that was just, I get it. You're trying to get clout. You're trying to get clicks. You're trying to get likes. Trying to get views. There's things that you do, things that you don't. You don't come after Ice Cube's son.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't know what you're going to get on the other end. I mean, granted, you're going to get a couple of little clicks, you know, hey, look, oh, you know what he did on my, he said something back on my remark and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I guess no news is good news, right? And I guess good press, no, bad press is good press, you know, but in this case, that's somebody you don't want to fuck with. what Ice Cube pretty much said there was, "God damn, I'm glad y'all set it off," to quote that No Vaseline remark you mentioned there, Mr. Paul Morales. And somebody else who set it off in his own way is Mr. Tony Khan, because of course he has to comment on this because he can't help himself. God damn it. So he wrote, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Twitter handle. You might enjoy checking out new experiences and entire worlds of international grabs out there. I can't even in the voice. I'm going to do it normally. You might enjoy checking out new experiences and entire worlds of international grabs out there. I think learning about them is fun. All wrestling is awesome. I hope you enjoy whatever you like, and maybe someday you'll be interested in wider circles. Hey, Tony, that's not what he said. He didn't.
Exactly.
It's not what he said. Like, he's been to your shows. He's been to WWE shows. He's a wrestling fan. He was just explain who the fuck these people are instead of just the announcers telling me on their fucking sheet. Give me a broad horizon of who they are. Don't just go say, oh, this is so-and-so. Look them up. Or, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know who this person is, then fuck you. That's not the mentality to have. That's what he was saying. Not that your product is shit, but it's like better be more specific. You know what I'm saying? Be more explanatory. And Tony takes it the wrong way because he himself is a message board mark, and he can't freaking help himself and get out of the mindset of a fucking mark that I mentioned that he's a mark. And this is where we are today and why tribalism builds and why Tony Khan just can't get his fucking fingers off the social media front. My apologies for the rant and the overall versatile verbiage that I just used there, but this dude frustrates the shit out of me. What were your thoughts on Tony Khan's response there?
Oh man, see, look, now you took all my bites out of what I was gonna say, man. You took all my energy out. Look at Tony Khan is Tony Khan. Tony Khan is gonna continue to keep doing the dumb shit that he does, and what he doesn't know is, I believe O'Shea was at Full Gear.
Yes, he was.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he gave Swerve Strickland a lot of props for the shit that him and Hangman did in that match.
Yes, he did.
So why are you, again, I think what he's trying to say is in general, you have these guys that come over from other companies. If they don't know them, why not just give us a little bit of background on who they are? Mm-hmm. That's it. Boom. How hard is that to understand, especially for these dumbass idiots who say, oh, well, you're not a wrestling fan.
Yep.
You're just a dumbass because you can't decipher the difference between what a wrestling fan is and you as a wrestling fan. And everybody else is anybody else who has a different opinion than yours is just an asshole. And that's not the case.
Right. Prime example to go on to your point there, Mr. Paul Morales, is I remember when Deonna Purrazzo was just starting on the indies. And I'm going to say this, just because I know who she is doesn't mean everybody is. I said, watch out for this girl, because I remember seeing her on the New York Wrestling Connection on Long Island. She had a great matchup on that card. She had wrestled all over the Northeast. I had seen her work in Ring of Honor as a part of the Women of Honor division. And I saw her do some stuff on WWE. She wrestled Asuka on NXT. She was an extra in the Rosebuds. But like, again, not a lot of people are going to know who she is unless you follow the indies, unless you follow that inner circle there. But that's the thing. Break it down to him. Show him the Women of Honor matches. Show her the matches with Kelly Klein or whoever the hell she was working at the time. Show her the bouts with Scarlett Bordeaux or Taylor Hendricks, if you will. That's what I'm saying. It's very simple. But to also do it in a nice way instead of saying, what the fuck you never mean you've seen this fucking match before? What the hell's wrong with you, buddy? That's the difference. It's all about the conviction and the connotation and the cadence of how you put it out there. And don't say it like that. Just break it down to people and we good. The bottom line is just break it down.
Yeah, and then you'll hear Ice Cube say today was a good day.
Ice Cube is a pimp. And, well, we got some big pimping up in here because to close out this show, we got another show, and it's this Saturday at 5 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, as the WWE presents Elimination Chamber from Perth, Australia, baby. Let's go into these matchups. Where shall we start? Okay. The Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defend the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships against the New Catch Republic of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. First off, what do you think about the new name for the New Catch Republic?
I don't like it, but I think it's catchy. Ha! Get it? Catchy? Yeah, you knew you were gonna come at that one, huh?
You stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. I'm stupid. I know. But hey, it's a new kind of catchy though.
Oh boy. Okay.
It's almost like One Republic. See, you know what I'm saying?
One Republic. So I like.
Anyways, I would much rather them be the
British
bruiserweight
style. Yeah.
British strong style. I would have much rather them stayed with that, but I get it. New show, new them,
New you.
same guys, new you, new year, new you. You know, hell with it. But I would these guys we already know could put on bangers. So I would really, really, really love to see them take these titles, and I would really like to see them do something with them. This is no offense against Finn and Damian, none whatsoever. But I think it needs new fresh face, a new meat behind them. And I think Triple H putting them on them would be beneficial for the tag team division. I personally still think that they need to split them, have tag team titles on two different shows. But hey, that's just me. But I think just getting some new faces in there. I like to see them against DIY. Like to see that again. You know, let to see them bang it out again. Oh my God, that was just an awesome match.
Uh-huh.
And I would love to them to run it back and then DIY beat them for it. But right now, I would like to see them just drop the titles and beat them and win them.
Oh, well,
that's my prediction.
I feel you, but here's my thing. Because you took a little bit of the words out of my mouth, like I did with yours. So it's reciprocated back. Dude, I like the fact that they're together again. I like that Butch is now Pete Dunne again. I like the fact that they're the tag team again. But here's my thing.
And their name is kind of catchy, huh?
It is. It's very catchy, yes. I will say this, though, man. They just came back together. I don't see them winning, and I'll tell you why. I see Finn and Damian retaining, but I want Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate to win, and here's why. I think the people that defeat them at WrestleMania are going to be the Miz and R-Truth because they still got that whole storyline in the background. And I'm going to say Awesome Truth is the one who beats them at WrestleMania to finish that story. So I'm going to go finish.
Everybody finishing their stories.
Everybody is.
Hey, look. The only reason why you talked about old teams getting back together, Kabuki Warriors got back together.
Right.
Kyrie came back. They won the tag team titles. I'm not saying that it isn't possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now I like your version, the fact that they win and all of a sudden, you get them coming back. We literally have, let me see, March, April, May, June, literally 3 months between now and June. 4 months, 4 months between now and June, which Damian Priest needs to cash in or make an attempt to cash in that
Money in the Bank.
That Money in the Bank. So I don't know. I just don't know. I wonder if he takes it off of Drew. That would be funny.
Yes, it would.
Especially Drew, after all this time, has been trying to finish his story.
That he has. Funny. I'm looking forward to the possibility of that, but I think for right now, the tag team gold is going to stay on them. And as much as I love Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, I think that'll be something for down the line. And give us some more DIY too, much like Paul said. That match was excellent. If you guys have not watched it back from last week on SmackDown, you definitely should check it out because it was awesome. And speaking of awesome, we have our next matchup, and we'll do it like this. Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship, the Women's World Championship, if you will. If Rhea Ripley does not win, we riot. If you really want to get some heat in Australia, Nia wins, and then Nia faces, well, I'll say Becky will get into the elimination chair for the women, and then you have that because Nia has a victory over Becky. This is probably the best Nia's ever looked in her tenure in WWE, but the shock and awe factor is her getting up for the Riptide. is Rhea giving Nia the Riptide. That is the big thing that has to go in there. And I think Rhea Ripley in her own hometown, Mommy is on top. Rhea retains that championship against Nia Jax. And I know that's your boo, but what are your thoughts with Rhea and Nia?
Man, why you trying to do my boo like that, man?
I'm just saying, man. Somebody's got to lose, and it's going to be Nia.
You know what? That's it. I am going to choke you out when I see you. You know what? As much as I want to go, I don't want to go against my girl, but I think Rhea's going to take this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be by disqualification, not necessarily by her pinning her. I think it's going to be something, but I think it would be more dramatic if she pins her.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow I just don't. I guess it's just me being the wrinkle that I think that they'd probably throw into this, and it may be a triple threat match at WrestleMania, which would be kind of weird altogether. But yeah, I think Rhea's gonna win. I think she's gonna pin her. I think she's gonna end up giving her like maybe a Riptide or something.
Avalanche Riptide from the middle.
Yeah, Avalanche Riptide. I don't know, something that she's gonna end up doing or maybe rolling her up. And I think I just had my sexual fantasy just pop up in my head with her rolling her up. Sorry, my bad.
That is a honky tonk, but donkey donk. Okay, I'm going to say it. She is a pretty lady.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
Other brothers can't deny. Put it on the glass. So, yes, Rhea wins, but damn it, Nia looking so good. Okay. So we'll say
my daughter's woman crush is gonna win.
Okay, so I'm guessing she's a Rhea fan.
She loves Rhea. She's a big Rhea fan. Oh. So shout out to Allie. Allie, I love you because I know that's your girl right there. That's your home girl. That's your favorite. So yeah, our favorites are facing each other. So that's.
Oh, I cannot do this in the Morales household. I cannot.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I gotta see if she'll actually go to sleep early to actually sit up and watch it with me. So.
Oh, dude, did you see that before we go back? Did you see that photo on Instagram where the guy's like, "I'm sorry, Rhea, I failed you," and it's him. It's a picture. He's just sleeping on his couch. It's like you tell yourself you want to get up to watch Elimination Chamber, and he's like sleeping on his couch at 5 a.m. Oh my Lord, that's gonna be a lot of people, and that's gonna be a lot of people. So
I'm gonna be half awake, half asleep, but I'm gonna make some strong ass coffee, and then I'll go take a nap afterwards because at least I'm at 2 a.m. At least I can sleep in a couple more hours, and after that,
this is true.
So,
this is true,
and it's a Saturday, so I can sleep in a couple more hours.
This is true. And now we head to the women's elimination chamber. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez. I'm going to put it like this. Raquel Rodriguez does have the history with Rhea, but I don't see it. Tiffany Stratton is too soon. Bianca Belair, too many. We've seen it before. The favorites I have to say in this, and then Naomi would be interesting. That would be an interesting bout with her and Rhea, but I think it's too soon for her too. It's got to be Becky or Liv. And I know Liv had just come back as she got attacked about a year ago from Mommy, but Rhea and Liv doesn't scream WrestleMania to me. And they've been teasing, especially since the press conference, Rhea and Becky Lynch. So I think somehow, some way, Becky's going to win and get that title shot against Rhea at WrestleMania. Who you picking?
I think it's going to be Becky also, but I think the last two are going to be her and Liv. That's just my thought. And I think I think the harsher part is that it's Raquel may actually be the first one eliminated, and I don't want to say it and I don't even want to think it, but it just that she may be the first one eliminated, and for her to come back and just have it like that, I would be completely devastated. Tiffany could take the L.
Uh-huh.
She's still new to this. Naomi could take the L. Not saying that she isn't championship on that championship level. I just think Bianca can afford to take the L. I mentioned Bianca and Jade at WrestleMania.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I think it's kind of a little bit too soon for it. I still think Jade is a little bit too green. No offense. And I think she's busting her ass with Natalia and TJ in the dungeon, and they're helping her out immensely. I just see Becky. I just see it's just Becky and Rhea. But I honestly think if that's the match at WrestleMania, I think Rhea goes over.
My thing too is I agree, because here's the thing. She beat Charlotte so decisively last year. It was back and forth, but god dang it, what a match. This year is going to be in the level, like, I don't know if it's going to be more of that at another level, but I think this matchup, she needs to win to solidify herself. Just continue as a badass. I mean, she's beaten Charlotte. She's beaten everybody. Her beating Becky really puts her over, and Becky doesn't need the win. She doesn't need the title. She's already over. Same with Rhea, but you're establishing Rhea as this dominant champion, and she is one of the most Rover talents out there right now in professional wrestling, and especially within the WWE. So I concur, man. And I mean, that sets up the women's side of things. But now we have the men's Elimination Chamber match, the winner to face Seth, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
All right. Logan Paul, no. Kevin Owens, no, because they still have to, go again for the U.S. Championship. Bobby Lashley, no, because they're him and the Street Profits against the final.
He's 11 years old.
Wow. You don't be hating on Bobby like that. Don't be hating on Bobby Lashley. Where's the beef?
The worst part is Bobby's my age.
I know. I mean,
Bobby's only a couple years younger than me. That's the worst part.
That dude,
and you look a hell of a lot better than I do. So
that is true. No, I don't mean to be
Bobby Lashley. Do your damn thing, old man.
Don't mean to do you like that, but the dude is a great.
Don't mean to do you like that, but do your damn thing, old man. You're fucking just dude. He's 46, dude.
I know he is.
I'm 48, motherfucker. Look.
Bruh.
I ain't got that body, but hey, kudos to you for having it.
Bruh. Okay, so other participants. So Bobby Lashley, no, because the Street Profits Final Testament. Logan and Kevin are going to cancel each other out. Randy Orton, no. Just because. No, just because I think if it were me, just because he does have some history still with the bloodline, I think him and Solo Sikoa would be an interesting match if they don't put Solo involved with Jimmy and Jay. That would be a nice one, kind of like we had Solo and John Cena. I'm going to say this, LA Knight, he's still got some stuff, unfinished business with AJ Styles, so there's something there. So then that would leave Mr. Drew McIntyre, and I think DM Hunk is going to win, and we get Drew and Seth at WrestleMania. Who you going with?
I think I'll go back to what I said before.
Okay.
Last week.
All right.
I don't think they're going to have Seth wrestle 2 nights in a row. Roman, maybe. Roman, yes, because, of course, that's Roman. But I don't see Seth wrestling 2 nights in a row. So if you're going to make him, everybody wants Drew. Drew's so fucking far over right now. As much as I love LA Knight and as much as I would love for it to be LA Knight to go after Seth, and believe me, I would love for it to be fucking LA Knight to go after Seth. It's going to be Drew.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of the it's going to be one of the more foregone conclusions of the Elimination Chamber, and those are the.
But it would be shocking if it was somebody else. It would just be very, very shocking. And then we could see Drew getting pissed off and being like, "Well, now I'm getting screwed," and blah blah blah, and yada yada yada, and so on and so forth. But you know what? Hey, I don't just. If it's not Seth and Drew and that's not the draw, then you're not going to get people to be as invested. Now, mind you, I mean, LA Knight is over. He is over. And I think he's a little bit more over than Kevin Owens facing Logan Paul. But I still see KO and Logan going at it.
Yeah, and I mean, Logan and Seth do have that history, but I don't think we're going to get that again. But yeah, the most not predictable, but the most foregone conclusion one is Drew McIntyre. And I mean, he's over like Rover right now, like you mentioned, the DM Punk stuff. And when CM Punk comes back, that's going to be a great feud and a great matchup. And the only other thing that we have not touched upon is the Grayson Waller effect, featuring Cody and Seth at Elimination Chamber from Grayson Waller's home country of Australia. Here's my thing with this. We saw Paul Heyman putting the seeds in there, like, kind of like stir the pot. Here's what you should say while they're on the Grayson Waller effect. I can see maybe Austin Theory and A-Town Down Under going after them. Maybe something with Jimmy and Solo. What are you expecting from the Grayson Waller effect?
So far, who I've seen land in Perth, I don't see Jimmy, I don't see Jay or Jimmy, and I don't see Solo landing there. Although they could land somewhere else and drive in, but as far as right now, I would like to see the seeds planted. I would like to see this Grayson Waller show actually be something and actually give the crowd something to look forward to for WrestleMania. But I could see the seeds planting. I could see more seeds being planted for this Elimination Chamber and a match that's going to happen. And it could be Drew. It could be Drew, depending upon where they put this Grayson Waller show. If they kick off with the men's, or if they kick off with the men's, bookend the matches in the middle with the Grayson Waller effect somewhere and landing spot on in the middle, and ending it with the women, or Mommy ending the night, because of course if you don't end it with Mommy, because then people are going to be really, really pissed. So
true. I mean, here's my thing. I think if you were, it would be interesting if they close with the talk show, but I think it has to be Rhea and Nia to close it. Or I think whatever place you put on the card, it's going to be over like Rover. But I think the Grayson Waller effect is going to be something special. And again, I've said this, I think the dude's an amazing heel and amazing talent from his work in NXT to SmackDown now. The dude has it. And putting him with Austin Theory makes sense just because they're two cocky, braggadocious cats, and it works. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing where the seeds go on the road to WrestleMania at the Elimination Chamber. So yeah, stay tuned for Saturday, man. I'm excited. I am in there.
I see Grayson gets under your skin.
Why is that? Oh,
there you go.
I'm tired, man. I'm tired. You're tired too. We've been doing this. It's late where we are, early S o'clock, more late than me. But hey, we're doing the damn thing. We are doing the damn thing.
Well, thank you for staying up a little later than you usually do.
Hey, man, I'm cool. I always love doing this with you. You know what I'm saying? It's the weekly.
You just love me more than Moses.
God damn it. Fuck you, Moses. So
I haven't said it yet. I will eventually.
All right. So that I love you, man. That concludes another edition of the Weekly Review. Paul, where can we follow you on all forms of social media?
You can find me on X. Gonna give it to you. On Twitter, whichever way you want to fucking look at it. RWT_Deadman. You can find me on YouTube, which I am going to recently upload our episodes onto there. RWT, the Deadman of RWT. Of course, he'll put the link down below. And of course, you can find me on the RWT Facebook page, which also he will put in the description below. And most of the time, I'm just talking shit to other people on X. So, but other than that, Mr. Michael Larkin, floor is yours.
StephenMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com for all your Steve and Mike Show needs and pop culture needs and on the mic with mics and all that good jazz. LFCfights.com for Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast. Subscribe to my YouTube, Mike Larkin 92, where you can hear the weekly review, Steve and Mike Show, on the mic with Mike, Pop Culture History Podcast, and the LFC Podcast. You can check me out on Twitter at SMShow1 or at MCL92, Instagram, MLarkinMB or Larkin_92. And that is the breaks, folks.
Then if you have any other needs, you could check out his Pornhub you could check out his link to his Pornhub. It's probably down below too. So, but he's used to being on top. So just know that.
Rest in peace, Coolio. We gonna take it to the hub. So
we're gonna take it to the hub.
Yep. So I will.
We're gonna take it to the county line.
I'm gonna take it to the candy shop.
Yeah, there you go. See, look at I knew it. See, I told you. I'm telling you, people. See, this is what he does.
This is This is what
You
you
don't
do.
know him like I do. Anyways, go ahead.
You make
We
me
out of
want
here. Look, we out of here.
We
Look,
outta
we
here,
out
man.
of here.
Make me
I
want
love
it.
you, man. I love you, man. Fuck you, Moses. You know what? I love you too.
I can't. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.